Good morning, everybody. It's Benny and me again. Today's going to be the mad scientist and his assistant. Anyway, yes, I just want to make this one comment about Benny and me. It's not always I, okay? It's sometimes me. Yeah, that isn't incorrect. You wouldn't say, this is how you figure out which one is which. You wouldn't say I, it's I again. You would say it's me again. So if ever you want to know the difference between the two. Same thing with he and I, she and I, him and me, him and I, her and me, her and I. So when you're using the two together, he, him, her, she, I, me, and you're using those combinations, just break the sentence up with, would you say, see, I don't know my words anymore, as in what those are called. Those are pronouns and stuff, I understand, but there's also a different name to them. So, but anyway, yeah, you break it up, and my ex the other day said, he says it's wrong all the time, but I don't correct him ever, because, he doesn't like it. And he doesn't care that he's doing it wrong, but I'll see it on the news. Even in English class, they'll say, pay attention to the news. You'll hear this spoken wrong all the time or that. Only one Christian man on a channel says it correctly all the time. But anyway, if my ex, for instance, said, him and I said, you wouldn't say him did it, him went and did it, you'd say he went and did it. But this case was something else. But anyway, okay, then I'm going to go into this necklace. I support the Jews. If all of us Christians wore a necklace, $11 on Amazon, stainless steel, it won't tarnish. If you guys ever want to Google is created by a Jew. I saw this years and years ago on TBN. I love TBN. I used to, until 2020, and they're not talking about the rapture. They would talk about the rapture all the day long back then. Well, they started to in 2012. The radio, Christian radio, started to maybe in 2010. But anyway, somebody was behind the other, but they weren't. And then when 2020 hit, whoa, nobody wants to talk about it that I've heard of. So anyway, on TBN, I saw something also called if Jesus had never been born, like the colleges, for instance, Harvard, Duke, all of them. Hold on. Yes, Dad. Back in those old days, you had to be, you had to be a Christian first. You had to have your theology in those colleges first and foremost. You had to be a preacher first. And then you got your education on if you were a doctor, lawyer, whatever. Okay, and then so Jesus never would have been born. So anyway, then on TBN, they had this thing about the Jews. They had like Hershey, made by a Jew. Levi's, we all know, made by a Jew. All these core, like MGM, Hollywood, yes, sadly they were created by Jews, but the Jews are who taught us everything bad, right? But they are the chosen because they're smartest. God bless them that way. They are the winners of the most Nobel Peace Prizes. Now, I understand, one is a German, one is a Swiss, but we all know they were dispersed. But their nationality in those countries, they're Jewish. They have won the most Nobel Peace Prizes. Okay. Number two, they've created pretty much everything. Okay, so if you want to Google it, what they've done, they're always doing it. Always. In fact, the mobile phone they invented. Then that chip thing in the mobile phone, they sold it. Now, this was on TBN. This was back then. Now, if you Google it today with all the new stuff, and there was hundreds of things. Then the newer stuff, like for instance Google. They invented Google. That was a Jew, 2 Jew boys, probably, I think 2. They invented the ballpoint pen, the teddy bear, the scopy camera that goes into your body to do surgery. They invented the cell phone. They invented everything pretty much. Sometimes they've sold it, like that chip thing. I think they sold to another company back before it blew up. So they are extremely, and then some think Christopher Columbus is, you know, I believe that, but I just don't understand where the Puritans came from. You know, from England, I know, but they never, our history never talks about Spaniards, a whole boatload of Spaniards from Spain and whatnot. But maybe Christopher Columbus wasn't Spanish, but there was something going to be happening like the Spanish Inquisition, and he needed to get the heck out of Dodge. And so, but anyway, I was saying this, I was going to do this video and say that I got a question on one of my videos. Janet, I think your name is. Hopefully it's not Janice. Sometimes I get names close, but not quite. But I think it's Janet. And she asked me a question. Once saved, always saved. Is that what I believe in? And I have been raised on that, yes. And then I have seen other, you know, arguments, but they're not arguments, you know. Even on TBN years ago, it was so cool. They had 3 people up there. None of them were yelling and screaming, calling each other names on pre, mid, and post. And they all gave their arguments. And back then, I recorded on videotapes, you know, VHS. I used to have them all. I loved all that stuff. But I'm not, my brain isn't wired to where I can regurgitate stuff back. I can hear it and understand it, but I don't know how to say it the way they do and explain it. So anyway, then, and you see in my description, if you've ever looked at it, that's kind of, yes, but I have heard the other arguments, not arguments, debates on these channels about it, and I know the verses and everything and all this, and I was also taught that the parables are to the saved people. Jesus is talking to the saved people. It's always, this is what the bad one does, and this is what the good saved person does. This is your example Jesus gives us, right? So as I was commenting, to make a short story long, as I was commenting back, I was getting kind of confused. I'm like, wait a minute. Oh, and also back in the early days of after 2020, and I would comment, or people would jump your ass for something, and so you get in a little tiff, and then as I would be arguing, just one time I did this is all it takes for me, and I'm done. I'm like, I ain't gonna go through this with every little freaking comment people that do this. So as the argument kept going back and forth, I realized it's basically we're talking about the same thing. We're really talking about the same thing, but they're pressing upon one thing that might make it sound like it's something that it's not. And then, so I comment to this lady. I said, I'm gonna try, Janet, sorry, this lady. I'm trying to be as succinct as I can to just say, hey, kind of this, brief. And then I said, I can kind of explain it more in a video if you want. And then I said, no, wait, I'm going to go back and say this part. And then I went back and said that part. And then I edited it like 500,000 times. And then I'm like, wait a minute, I think I'm confused. I thought I had it. I told her, I said, I thought I had this all summed up in my head. And I had all this common sense figured out that, oh, this is all just common sense. This isn't even hard at all. This is so common sense, and everyone's making it so hard. And they're all arguing about it round and round and round. And we're all talking about the same thing, right? So as I'm trying to say, no one's behind me. Did I hear a horn? as I was trying to say they and I and they and they, and I was kind of spinning myself in a whatever. So I was editing it a lot and going back after I reread it. And then I'm thinking, wait a minute, I told her, I said, now that I'm writing it down, instead of just thinking it in my head, now that I'm writing it down, I'm not sure if what I'm saying and conveying is I don't even know what it is. I don't know what it is. I don't think it's confusion. I just confused myself. So anyway, eventually, this is one of those pre-videos where I'm warning you that I'm going to kind of write all this down, and I'm going to think, and then I can present it. And then let me put it in park. Oh, Park usually makes him stop. Hang on, Bobs. Wait a minute. Anyway, I'm going to get to the bottom of this. Here, babe. So, I was just going to give you a pre-video for a heads up for the next video. So, meanwhile, you guys ought to Google the Jews and what all they've done, and get yourself a necklace, wear it loud and proud. Don't have it tucked away hidden like they always had to do all their life, because they're getting attacked. I should have done this a long time ago, right after October 7th, but I didn't even, I thought about it, but I was like, I don't have the money or this or that, or I just got busy, and I probably just didn't have the money. And anyway, so I am so happy and excited I got this, because they started getting attacked again with that ball game thing, and I'm like, if we all wore these, they can't jump us all. They can't jump us all. And I wish I knew martial arts, because I would be kicking your butt. But anyway, so I do this. I wear this. I'm not a Jew. Maybe I am, but anyway, love you guys. And this hat I've had for like 10 years. Yeah, 10 years. It's very old. I just figured out I could wash it like 2 years ago. So it was kind of nasty. Yeah, it was nasty. This is my IV drip. Dr. Pepper IV drip. My sister brought me that from Buc-ee's, because we had to help my other sister move and pack and clean her house. So, and she gave me permission to tell about a miracle from she and I, or is it her and I? A miracle, it's a miracle from her, not a miracle from she. So see, that's how you do it. She gave me permission, and then, so I'll talk about that miracle. Her miracle and mine. So her and, yeah, okay, so maybe you can kind of get the gist of what I'm saying. Okay, bye. God bless y'all, bye.